The Real Monica Adams Show is brought to you by Kaufman Outdoors and The Porch in Wildwood.
Well, good morning and happy hot Monday. Holy cow. Yesterday I took a video and a picture when we got out of the movie theater of Jim's car. It said 113. That's what it felt like yesterday. And that is unfortunately what I think is on tap for us over the next couple of days. So if you're going to the Cardinals game, you're going to the Muni, anything outside, we're talking dangerous weather. We're going to kick off our news you can use with that in just a second. We also have our guest returning because it was a really popular show. You were very interactive. You had a lot of questions, and I'm sure it's going to happen again today. Estate planning, your wills, your trust, and elder law. All of that coming up this morning with Shawn Estep from the Estep Law Firm on tap today on this Medical Monday. So it does have a medical tie to it when we talk about Medicaid and Medicare. So listen up for yourself, for your parents, for your aging grandparents, aunts and uncles, things like that. All coming up this morning after we do the news you can use. And let's get right to it. Again, temperatures around the area, dangerous. And we're going to talk to Beckett more about that in a segment we call What the Weather.
Good evening and welcome into this new More Weather Forecast video. My name is Beck Moore.
And our segment brought to you by Fenton Family Dentistry. And by the way, I'm excited. Beckett's already gone in. He can tell me what I'm going to be experiencing because today I am going in. You know, last time we had Abram Whitehead on, we were talking about how at night I evidently can't just relax. And so I'm grinding my teeth. So we're going to look at that today. And I'm going to go in and have Dr. Jessica and the team take care of me, just like they've been taking care of so many other families, from young kids to our adults alike. Fenton Family Dentistry, located again off of Smizer Mill Road. I would love for you to reach out to them. Check them out on social media as well. FentonFamilyDentistry.com. And once again, the exact address for you is 552 Old Smizer Mill Road in Fenton. All right, our aspiring meteorologist standing by. Good morning, Beckett. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm hot.
Yes.
So yeah, I got in the car. I'm like, is it really 113? Okay, it's not really. It was just baking in the heat. But that's what it feels like out there for the next couple of days, isn't it?
Yeah, yesterday we actually got a record dew point. So the humidity is a big factor in this, making it feel so much warmer, so much hotter than it really is. And we got a record dew point, record daily dew point of 81, which is extremely high. That's very humid. And then we also saw feels like temperatures upwards of 120 degrees yesterday. I think we're going to pretty much see the same thing today.
Oh my God, did you say 120?
Yes.
Okay, no wonder why I took that video of 113. All right, so we were talking about, this is dangerous, folks. This is not something to be taking lightly. So I'm really worried about all of you that work outside. You think about our first responders and all that heavy equipment. Again, hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Becca, what other tips would you give them as you kick off our forecast?
Yeah, so definitely hydrate, wear sunscreen, and take breaks from those strenuous activities. So only be outside in the sun for maybe 10 to 15 minutes, and you're going to want to take very frequent water breaks and very frequent breaks in the shade or indoors.
Okay, so that's at least for the next couple of days, and hopefully it will cool down from there. All right, Becca, take it away. Give us the bad news.
Yeah, so looking at this morning, this is our really last very oppressively hot day, with a morning temperature already at 83 degrees. As we head into this afternoon, though, getting near 100 degrees for our high, with a high near 98. And again, sunshine will be bearing down on us throughout the afternoon, making those feels like temperatures, the heat index well above 105 degrees. Now, looking at the 7-day forecast, tomorrow we do go back down to around average for this time of the year, 90 degrees, mostly sunny skies. By Wednesday, we're at 87 and 88 on Thursday, keeping with that sunshine. Now, as we head towards the weekend for Friday and Saturday, that's when we do have some rain chances to come into the picture, with a 50% chance of rain on Friday and a 30% chance on Sunday, with our temperatures actually backing off a little bit, near 83 degrees for our high on Friday and Saturday. And then by Sunday, about a week from now, 85 degrees and sunny skies. So we really just need to get through today, and then the rest of the week will be pretty normal, pretty much what we're used to.
Okay, but again, for the next couple of days, please, as we always tell you, to check on the elderly. I was really upset yesterday, Beckett. I drove by and I saw 2 dogs that had chains on and they were outside, and I almost wanted to drive back and just rescue those babies. Again, you cannot have these animals out there, and if they have to be, please make sure that they have a lot of water. Well, Beckett, thank you. You be safe, and then we'll talk to you again on Friday.
Thank you, you too.
All right, folks. So again, nothing to take lightly. We will talk about that again throughout the show. That is the big story. So that was Beckett's forecast. And look at our friends over at KMOV. They're saying 99 today. Heat index 110 to 115. And again, the heat index tomorrow 100 to 105. And as we mentioned, there's a lot of outside activities that are taking place. So if you do have to go outside, if you're going to the Cardinal game, because again, they're on tap tonight, please be careful. All right, we're going to stay with weather, and we're going to talk about Genevieve. Now, this has become a Category 5 hurricane, but it is not expected to make landfall. That's the good news. Genevieve became the Category 5 hurricane early today, the first in the East Pacific region in a couple of years. Forecasters said it's expected to stay far out to sea on a course roughly parallel with the Mexico coast. It had maximum sustained winds of 160 miles per hour, according to the National Hurricane Center in Miami. Genevieve's center was located about 530 miles southwest of Manzanillo, and it was headed northwest at 13 miles per hour. No coastal watches or warnings are in effect, but the Hurricane Center said the swells from the storm, likely causing life-threatening surf and rip current conditions, they are affecting parts of Mexico's southwestern coast and the Baja California Peninsula. The storm expected to begin weakening on Tuesday. Well, today here in our local area, they are going to continue searching for a missing swimmer at the Missouri River. It was suspended yesterday, but it's going to get back going this morning. Reports of that person in the water came in after 5 o'clock last night near Klondike Park. If you're familiar, that's right between Defiance and Augusta. Crews searched for several hours before suspending the effort due to darkness. They plan to resume the search this morning. Again, a reported missing swimmer in the Missouri River in St. Charles County. Well, if you take, not drive, Metrolink, they are expanding their new ticket machine security upgrades to more stations starting today. Metrolink expands its new ticketing and security system to 13 additional stations. Phase 1 launched at the beginning of the month. You'll remember we had that in News You Can Use a few weeks ago. They installed new ticket vending machines at 13 of the system's 38 active stations. Today's Phase 2 brings the machines to another 13 stations. The remaining stops scheduled to receive the upgrades coming up in August. And this is the wildest thing. In fact, I'm going to take this story and drop it into the comments because you all need to see the drone video. This was in New York, and the police department's drone captured these teens subway surfing on the video. It is crazy. That's just a capture of a screenshot. If you look closely, you can see them on top of the subway. It captured them atop a train traveling southbound. One of the teens caught with 6 stolen MTA cards. 2 of them were 12 and 14 years of age. They're facing multiple charges, including reckless endangerment and criminal trespassing, and obviously putting themselves in a lot of danger. So look at that. I'm going to drop it into the comment section right now. It's crazy to see them on top of there. And then this one makes me so sad. You think of living your life to 99 years, and then you go out for a walk, which neighbors believe that's what kept her heart so healthy. And then when she was struck and killed by an SUV while on her morning walk, isn't that just devastating? I mean, this happened in San Diego. It happened where Brenda Washington saw her 99-year-old neighbor out for a walk, a familiar sight in that neighborhood. About an hour later, they heard sirens and soon learned the heartbreaking news that this 99-year-old neighbor was dead. They all said that they were so devastated. You know, it hits you even harder when you see that person out there getting ready to go out for their walk. But a lot of people are saying just how dangerous it is. And, you know, we can put ourselves in this story because we think about our own area, and it's just everyone wanting to go out for walks and go out on bike rides, whether it's kids or adults alike. And maybe you have just a little narrow area, which is why I don't walk out of our subdivision anymore. If you've ever, like Zach would know, if you've been over to my house, you don't really have a sidewalk. And so you're trying to get your exercise in. I just stay with right in the neighborhood. For this, I'm not sure what it looked like, but the part that I'm thinking is that people are speeding, going way too fast, especially in those subdivisions. So thoughts and prayers going out to this woman. But gosh, what a way to go when you live 99 years, right? All right, continuing on in the news, This one I love. This is the heartwarming story. Nurses put a wedding together in 24 hours for a bride that was undergoing brain surgery. Actually, this is in Denver, Colorado. She was diagnosed with a large brain tumor requiring major surgery. Her nurses had just 24 hours to plan her wedding, and guess what? They did not disappoint. Gary Clayson had been waiting 15 years to marry his fiancée, Anne. He said, yep, she's the last person I'm going to be with, so we're going to make it official. Most weddings take months or even years to plan, but Gary couldn't wait. By the way, Anne will undergo surgery today to remove a large tumor in her brain. The ceremony filled with joy, despite the uncertainty still ahead. No one knows what the future will bring, but the beautiful thing is, Anne and Gary will face it together. Don't you just love that? Okay, this is another story where I want you to see the video of this because the still shots, it's hard to see. But bystanders were able to help this little kitten. They kept hearing a noise and they didn't know where it was coming from. Ended up that the kitten was stuck inside of the car engine. And when I watched the video, I just love this guy's response where he was like, well, look what I found. And he pulled the kitten underneath the car and out to safety. The meowing was coming from inside that car where the little cat was hiding near the engine. Animal control said the kitten appears to be fine, but will get a full medical exam, which is just, it's crazy, but we've heard so many of these stories. I've seen stories of snakes that have come out, a lot of different animals. They're trying to warm themselves. Right now, in our area, I would hope that they wouldn't. But again, in other areas like Denver, maybe it was a little chillier. But the kitten's okay. That's the good news. So that's my feel-good, warm story of the day. All right, as we continue, this one is for all of you that love to go to the movies. And I love the fact that more and more are going back. We saw The Odyssey yesterday. I'm a huge Matt Damon fan. By the way, he got ripped for that movie. Anne Hathaway is in it. You have Robert Pattinson, Charlize Theron. I mean, that's a huge cast. So The Odyssey, I highly recommend. We just saw that. And we saw Young Washington a week ago. So now we're back to the theaters. And then this one's coming out in December. The trailer has been released. Avengers Doomsday trailer has been revealed. And again, another one that I'm going to drop in for you if you want to watch this. The cast for the movie, full of stars from across the MCU. It will see the return of Chris Evans as Steve Rogers. Chris Hemsworth is back as Thor. Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic. Paul Rudd as Scott Lang, and so many more. The short list only scratches the surface of how many favorites will be returning for Avengers Doomsday. I love to know my audience. Will you go to the theaters to see that one? I'm going to thank Zach if he's on right now. We'll probably say yes to that. But what about all of you? Also, Comic-Con, David Johnson is the new Black Panther, and Ryan Gosling, who I am a huge, huge fan of, Ryan Gosling is joining Marvel as Ghost Rider. So there you go. All right, in sports news, as I mentioned, the Cardinals in town for this stretch in some very hot weather. Yesterday, the Cardinals were in action, and they lost to the Reds. The final was 5-3. It's the Cubbies and the Cardinals. You got to love that rivalry. Today, first pitch, 6:45. I had a friend, a client actually, that went to the game yesterday, and she's like, Monica, my sweat is sweating. That's how hot it was at Busch Stadium. Now, this one happened over the weekend. It didn't happen just yesterday, but it's something we didn't get a chance to talk about. So I know a lot of you are St. Louis Blues fans. Did you see some of the trades? And there's also some rumors going on right now with the Pittsburgh Penguins and the St. Louis Blues. However, a lot of those rumors are being squashed, saying, nope, I think that we're done and we're ready for the season. But Connor McMichael and Mason McTavish highlighting the new additions on the St. Louis Blues roster ahead of this upcoming season. And I looked, the Blues opened the 26-27 regular season schedule with a 3-game road trip against Central Division rivals, beginning with the season opener coming up October 2nd in Dallas against the Stars. You all ready for that? I'm ready to just sit in an arena where it is cool with how hot it is right now. All right, on our National Day of calendar, it is National Love is Kind Day, National New Jersey Day, National Creme Brulee Day, National Scotch Day, and it is National Korean War Veterans Armistice Day. So, a lot of things going on this National Day of calendar. All right. Good morning to all of you. We have our return guest. He was very popular the first time, and I think the same thing's going to apply today. Questions coming from you. Drop them in. Feel free to drop them in now as we go to break. I say good morning to Christy, and we see Linda on. She's always on. Usually, hopefully you're inside walking on your treadmill, Linda. Kathleen, she started her walk at 6 a.m., finishing up now. Oh, you were outside. Wow. We have at least a breeze this morning. morning. Karen, Babs, I admire your discipline, Rose said. Absolutely. I mean, come on, especially when you're out there in this heat. I'm praying for Ann today. I'm glad she got married. That got to me. Yep. One of those heartwarming stories. No to Avengers, going to see the Odyssey tonight. You're going to love it. We're seeing it in an IMAX where they spray and rock your chair. That's what I saw it. We went to Arnold, actually, and I kept going, oh my gosh, my chair is moving. All right, folks. Well, good morning to you all. Let us know where you're watching from and what's on tap for you today. Hopefully staying in the cool weather. Shawn Estep is our guest from the Estep Law Firm. We're talking about trust and wills and elder care on this morning's Real Monica Adams Show.
I love working here. You know, I come in here and I feel positivity with everybody, down from the housekeepers up to the CEO. Our bosses actually get on the floor with us, help us out. I've been in plenty work nursing homes, and being here, it makes me feel very happy all the time. Being around these residents is amazing things. I'm gonna cry. Working with them, it's like my grandma and my grandpa. When I'm at home, and I can come here, I feel free. When I'm having bad days, I can just walk in here and boom, I'm back into a happy place. They make everything happy and joyful, and they all respectful. They do put an impact on my life big time. That's it. I mean, yeah, that's the best memories. Hey, this is my place, this is my home.
Welcome back to the Real Monica Adams Show. Thrilled to have you along with us and thrilled to have our guest return. You're going to see him a lot over the coming months. And I love the fact that some of you have already reached out because you know the importance of not putting this off. Shawn Estep from the Estep Law Firm. Welcome back to the show.
Monica, it's great to be back.
There were a lot of people that had some great questions last time, and I want you to load them up today as well. We're going to continue some of the talks that we had because there's so much to cover in this topic, but we're also going to discuss elder law today, which is very important as well. So Jim and I just wrapped ours up, and my sister-in-law said this yesterday, and it was true. She was like, isn't it a good feeling to finally have signed it all? And I said, yes, it's good to finally have it in place. I'm going to let Shawn tell you something, though. He sat down at the table, and what was your comment? You said, okay, Monica, this was one of the...
Oh, I've forgotten already.
In all the years he's been doing this, he's like, this was very complex.
Oh, that's true. Okay, so you're talking about your plan.
Yeah.
But, you know, I like those because... You and Jim sat down and said, these are the things we want. And then you followed up with a nice draft of all the detailed things you wanted. And to me, that's what estate planning is all about. You can do wills and trusts and powers of attorney and not really get the opportunity to dig that deep and say, what do you really want?
Right.
What's your why? And I think that for most people, they don't understand that that's the core of estate planning is what is your why?
Well, and I know it was very personal. Jim said yesterday we were in the pool, and he's like, you know, Monica, he goes, a lot of times people just say, sell the house off, sell all of its contents, and that's what happens. And I said, I know, but I wanted to go much more personal. So I did, but I like to challenge him.
And you did. Thank you very much. I really do like the challenges.
Good. So if you have not done this, folks, I want you to reach out to Shawn Estep with the Estep Law Firm. There's the information on your screen. You can check out his website, by the way, esteplawfirm.com, and then also follow on social media. You also have a lot of opportunities for people to come in person and listen to you. You've been talking about maybe doing a live webinar as well?
Yes, I'm going to do a live webinar. I've got it scheduled for 4:30 this coming Thursday.
Oh, okay.
At 4:30, and that's on 7:30. July 30th.
On July 30th, okay.
July 30th. And
where do they see this? On your website, or you're going to...
This afternoon we'll have a link for them to get to a registration. They can register for the webinar, and then we'll send out the webinar information for them.
Okay, perfect. Yes, and it's something that beyond this morning show where we want you to ask questions, you can go a little bit deeper into that. I looked back at your show from last month and made sure that we answered everybody. And then there was one person that I saw, somebody else had answered. I'm like, well, we'll make sure that Shawn comments on this. They said, should we do a will or should we do a trust? And the woman that reached in and commented had said, she said trust, and then she said work with a lawyer. That was her first thing immediately.
Okay. No, and that's a good point. But With a trust-based estate plan, you're going to have a trust, you're going to have a will, you're going to have powers of attorney for finance, powers of attorney for healthcare, and some other ancillary documents you need for your plan to work properly.
And that's what we did.
That's what you did.
So, and again, I think growing up, I had always heard will. And so as I got older, it was, okay, this is a little more in depth than I thought. What about all the people that think, and we addressed this a little bit last time, that think they can do it on their own and they go to different websites that are out there, or now they're typing into AI. Oh, AI can teach me.
So it's really easy to create documents. I'm not going to tell you it's not. But the hard part is, again, partly what is your why? Why are you doing that? One of the questions that was on your Facebook said, well, I've got transfers on death, pay on death, joint ownership. Isn't that enough to avoid probate? Sure. If a lot of things work properly, okay, and the person you have done that for, your beneficiary, doesn't die before you, isn't incapacitated when they receive that, then it can work. The problem is that the only why that you have,
right,
avoiding probate? Well, we had our conversation, and there was a lot more than just avoiding probate. It's, I want my children to have this, I want my potential grandchildren to have other things, and I want my friends to receive the following property, and I want it to be distributed to them in trust so that they're protected. So is your why different than just avoiding probate? And that's something that everybody has to sort of think through.
Absolutely. And again, I love that question, by the way. As a life coach, I love, what is your why? What is your purpose? Which a lot of people have a hard time answering right away, but you should. It shouldn't be something like that. You should think about it, and you should start thinking about it now, though. That was the question that one person had. I'm going to get to some of them because I saved them from last time. Somebody said, if I'm married, doesn't my spouse automatically make decisions for me?
Oh, that's actually a really good question, and I'm going to answer that in a little bit more detail on Thursday. That's actually one of the 5 mistakes I think people think of. Doesn't everything automatically go to my spouse?
You would think.
The answer is no. If you look at Missouri's probate code, what it says is that if you pass away and you own things yourself, like you have bank accounts, just your name, not transfer on death or pay on death, you have, say you have a car in your personal name with no transfers on death, and you pass away, that's going to go through the probate process. And our probate code in Missouri says that the spouse gets some of it and the kids get some of it, right? So again, you're not always going to get the spouse getting everything, especially if it was in your name, right?
I hope you're all hearing this because, again, I think our belief is, well, I'm married and this is a no-brainer, but it's not. It's not that simple. Somebody said, what happens if I become unconscious and can't make medical decisions?
Then if you are unconscious or incapacitated for an extended period of time, then someone's going to have to make those decisions for you. So we either plan ahead and have powers of attorney for finance and healthcare to make financial and healthcare decisions for you, or you depend on the courts, the probate courts. And that could be a guardianship, which is helping you as a human being, somebody make your healthcare decisions for you. Also, you need someone to make financial decisions. That's a conservator. So you would have what we call a living probate, guardianship and conservatorship.
And it's interesting making those decisions. And I thought really hard about this, and I told Shawn, Jim asked me yesterday, what did we end up deciding on? And I was like, I don't know, but that's why it's down in this big binder, by the way, that you will get as well. And it was, I don't want someone when we're gone to have to do all of this and not take care of them because it's no easy feat.
That's
so
correct.
It's not a mandatory, is there? It's not mandatory that someone is paid for this. But folks, if you have someone, well, you should have someone that's doing this for you. I can't tell you what to do, but it's a lengthy process, and it's like a job for them.
Yeah, it can be lengthy, but the reason that we do the planning part is, number one, we want to make it easier.
Yeah.
We want to make it easier on the people that are making decisions for you. But they do need to be compensated somehow.
Yeah.
Most families, if they have children or siblings that are doing the job of decision maker, financial and healthcare decision maker, they're going to rely on the fact that that person's receiving some distribution from this plan. But ultimately, you may want to set aside more especially if you have the good daughter that does more of the work. They took care of mom and dad during their healthcare crises. They have taken care of their siblings. They're going to be taking care of all the financial decisions as they administer the trust. You may want to set more aside, and we certainly can do that. We have the instructions in the plan just for that purpose.
Again, if you're just tuning in on this Monday, and we tied Shawn into a medical Monday because we're going to talk about elder law and how does that all look. The Estep Law Firm, it's E-S-T-E-P, the Estep Law Firm. So yes, you do want a lawyer that knows how to do this to take it over, because it's just something, you don't want to leave all of this to chance, to, I think I can do it on my own. So estate planning and elder law, they're located on Swingley Ridge Road, down in the Chesterfield area. And again, it's esteplawfirm.com. Layla, I think it's Layla, just said, we have power of attorney for me and my husband, and also our kids as beneficiaries if we both went at the same time, one as an administrator. Well, again, I'm glad that you actually have made the process happen for you already. That's very important. Those of you that have said, when should we do it? That's an interesting question. What age should we start thinking about this, Shawn?
18.
Oh, look, I think we said that last time, and that is such an aha moment.
I'm so consistent, aren't I?
Yes.
And the reason 18 is because now you can sign documents, legal documents, in Missouri. So that's when I suggest that you have your children going to college or the military, sit down either with an attorney or I'm going to say it online, but I disagree with that, but I'm going to say it anyway. And just get a simple packet. Get powers of attorney for finance, powers of attorney for healthcare, a simple will, simply because as a parent, we lose our right to make decisions for our children at age 18. So my thought process is get them started on the right path.
Right. Well, so another question that came in a lot of these came into my email, by the way, and thank you for that, because it was a popular show, and I think every time that we have Shawn on, it's going to be, I have this question. Can my adult children legally access my bank account if something happens to me?
If they go to court and become a conservator for you, or if they're a decision maker under your powers of attorney for finance, then the answer is yes. You could also make them a joint owner, which I don't recommend, because if they're in a car accident or something else bad happens, as part of their lawsuit, someone could bring your accounts into that process. I'm not saying they can get into your money, but if you're the joint owner, that's quote unquote their money. So you need to be careful with that. Some banks allow you to be a joint signer, but not an owner. That's something you have to talk to your institution about.
Okay, and folks, remember, by the way, we are on 7 different platforms, so the questions can come in live, or if we don't see them, I will make sure that Shawn, I will tag him, or I'll send it over to him so that he gets to yours. Facebook, as well as LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, X, Rumble, and Instagram. So keep them coming in. What happens if I die without a will, Shawn?
Then Missouri's probate code would be where you would look for how property is distributed. And that's why I said if you have children and you have a spouse and you die and you have property in your name without one of the 5 will substitutes, we're going around the probate process. And I'll just go over those real quickly. It's transfer on death, pay on death, joint ownership, beneficiary designation, beneficiary deed. If your property doesn't have one of those ways of avoiding the probate process, then we're going to have to go through the probate, and what's going to be distributed is your property that you owned to the people that the probate code says get it.
So this is the question, and I think I was a little unsure of this after I walked away from our own meeting. Right now, if we have titles for a house, for cars, whatever your property is, and it says transfer on death, which you probably right now would have a spouse, we need to change that. Does that say to trust?
We changed that.
We did already.
We did that.
I don't have to do
took care
anything.
of that. No.
See?
No.
I walked away going, is there something I need to do with that now?
There's always that feeling. And that's why this is a process. And we're going to go through your funding. So what we'll do is we'll go through a spreadsheet of your assets, and we'll make sure that they're properly owned by the trust or directed to the trust.
See? Even I just went through and was like, I don't know. He's holding our hands through this.
I hold everybody's hands, or at least I try to.
Yeah, no, you absolutely do. Someone said, does having a will automatically avoid probate?
No, in fact, a will is a probate document. What I like to say, for those of you that have been to the real Disneyland in California, we used to back in the 60s and 70s have a thing called the e-ticket. And the e-ticket was to things like the Matterhorn and Space Mountain and all the other really fun rides that the bigger kids like. And then went A through E. So wills are the e-ticket to probate. You have to, in Missouri, have the probate accept and admit your will within 12 months of the passing of the will maker. Otherwise, it's invalid. So what the will does is takes control over the probate process and says, this is what I, as the will maker, want to have happen.
So when they come to you, because I think the number one question I saw was, why do some people need a trust instead of just a will? You navigate that by what their why is.
Yes, that's absolutely true.
Yeah. So, okay, so those were some good questions that came in last time that I wanted to make sure that I hung on to. Keep your own questions coming in. We will answer those for you this morning, or if you're rushing off, do me a favor and do a little hashtag so we know that you are watching later, which is what happened, by the way, last time. So aging parent questions that have come in to me, people that said, I can't watch in the morning, but please ask this. What's the biggest mistake adult children make with aging parents?
When their parents are getting the short-term memory challenges. Don't have that conversation with the parents and take them to an attorney and draft appropriate documents. And a lot of times the parents are reticent to do that because they're not wanting to lose control. I had this conversation with a family last year. The brothers were talking to mom and dad in my office. Mom and dad didn't really want to give the kids that access because they felt like giving the kids that access, they would lose control, number one. And number two, they really didn't want to put that on their kids.
Yeah.
The kids explained that they already had to do those things. They had to make those decisions. They had to call with mom and dad in the room to do financial or healthcare decision making. So they said to mom and dad, look, we really need to have this power so we don't have to come to the house all the time. We don't have to do this with you. We can do it as needed. So the first mistake really is not doing that soon enough.
Okay.
Not giving the kids the ability to make decisions for you.
Okay.
Make sense?
So one of the things that we wanted to get into today that we didn't get a chance to get into last time was, again, elder law, which first explain what that is, and then when should families begin discussing elder care planning?
So elder law is a very broad range of law, and it covers things from abuse in a nursing home and challenges with family members, guardianships, conservatorships. It also includes things like Medicaid planning, Medicaid benefits planning, which we'll talk about, veterans benefits planning. It includes what I call Medicaid crisis planning. And it actually even includes special needs planning for people that have special needs.
Right.
And I cover the things that are going to be Medicaid planning, veterans planning, Medicaid crisis, and special needs. I don't do any litigation. I'm not going to do guardianships and conservatorships. So
Medicaid crisis, what do you mean by that?
So a Medicaid crisis would be, say mom or dad has a slip and fall. They break their hip. They're going to have to go into a nursing home at some point after the hospital to get rehabilitation. Okay? And once they get through that process and their care plan, and that's what the hospital or nursing home will put together, saying this is how your care needs to proceed once you leave the community, it may say that going back home is not an option because the person staying at home doesn't have the capability of managing care for someone that has that issue.
Okay.
So what we'll do is we'll hear from the nursing home, from that care plan, that person actually needs to go into skilled care. Not assisted living, and there are 3 levels, general levels: independent living, assisted living, and skilled nursing. There'd be skilled nursing, but they don't have enough money.
Right.
What do? You apply for Medicaid benefits. The problem is that now you have to look at what your assets are and whether you've gifted and a number of other things. And the challenge being that if you have too much in terms of assets, you may have to spend down, that's the magic word, spend down half or more of your assets in order to then qualify one person to go into the nursing home. Well, what does that do for the person at home? It leaves them with half of what they might have had before. Does that make sense? And that's difficult, I think, for the person staying at home. That's going to change their lifestyle. It's going to change their ability to maintain their dignity. And it's probably going to impact whether they can leave a a legacy or not.
It's interesting for me, and I always say we're in certain seasons. All of my friends were around the same age. I have some that are like 10, 20 years younger than me, and I'm trying to teach them this is what's coming. Those that are my age, we're all talking about our aging parents. We're all talking about wanting to keep them in their home. Dignity, Shawn, I think is a really powerful word that you just
Exactly.
used. If it is assisted living, if it is for them to go into their independent, they still want to have some independence, but they're on the campus of having the ability to have care there. But it's interesting of what I'm finding out with so many that are like, oh my gosh, they can't get into this home because they have too much money. They can't get into this home because they don't have enough. They have a level of acuity that they can't get into. There's so many where you think right away, and this is why we talk about Garden View, by the way, all the time. And I had somebody reach out to me yesterday saying, Garden View has really high ratings. Yes, I wouldn't put my name behind somebody that didn't. But it is interesting when they believe, well, we can just call and we can just get right in, right? No. No, there are levels of can they take you in? What is the level of care? I want you to go in and take the walk through and tour and put your name on a list, because when it comes to that time, you don't want to scramble and be trying to get yourself or get your parents in. So we're going to take a quick break. Again, keep your comments coming in. I have some good questions that I'm going to get to here in just a second from some of our alternate. I love the fact that I'm able to see Rumble questions coming in now. So for those of you watching on what I consider alternate platforms besides YouTube and Facebook and Instagram, keep those coming in. Again, elder law, aging parents, long-term care and financial protection. We'll get into that as well. Don't go anywhere. More with Shawn Estep from the Estep Law Firm next.
You could start your day feeling loose, relaxed, and ready. Deep hydrotherapy right in your backyard. No commute, no appointments, just warmth, relief whenever you need it. Sore muscles recover faster, tight joints loosen up, tension you carry all day, gone. Relax with your family or friends, or work out with our Michael Phelps Edition Swim Spas. Worried about maintenance? We have factory-trained service nearby whenever you need it. Plus, we're here for you long-term if you have any questions or need to refill supplies. You can even test spas at our showrooms. Spas and More, A+ rated, locally owned for 20 years. We put the ah in spa.
Welcome back to the Real Monica Adams Show. Lots of questions coming in. Keep them coming in. This is your show after all, and I want you to get your answers and then to go deeper, because again, it's not cookie cutter, as Shawn knows. You've been doing this for how many years now?
30 years.
30,
Can you
yeah, I was
believe
going to say
that?
3 decades.
3 decades, yeah.
So the Estep Law Firm, I'm asking you to reach out. And again, there's a reason why people do what they do in life. Let him take care of it. I know some of you reached out last time, and I love that. Once again, the information on the screen for you, esteplawfirm.com. Go to the website or give them a call and set up your own appointment. We're talking about elder law, estate planning, your trust, your wills. Let me get back to some questions before we move on. Waiting list, sometimes up to 5 years. So many people at a younger age put their name on a waiting list for that reason, usually starting at independent living. Yep, it's important to do so. Rose said POAs are a huge responsibility, especially if you have estranged siblings who want more. I bet you see that a lot, Shawn. I encourage people to go to places like yours to avoid trouble. Money tears families apart.
That's absolutely true. And more than that, things do. I always wondered why my girl cousins married men from Arkansas that had pickup trucks. What I found is that after my grandmother passed away, my uncle let them into the grandma's house, and they took everything out of the house right down to the electrical wiring. And it's because they wanted to take all those things out of grandma's house. It was just kind of a common thing. They split the stuff up amongst them. I think they left my brothers and I with the little candy dishes and things like that. So those are the things sometimes that people look at. You know, maybe it's the little George and Martha Washington that was on Grandma and Grandpa's mantle, because you see that over the course of your lifetime. Those are really cool. I'd like to take those.
Sure.
They're gone. But that's what people get upset about too, is the thing. So it's really nice to think about, how do you manage that?
Yep.
And we have that conversation. How do you manage that? How do you manage the things?
Right. Well, it's because it's an association of when they were alive that this is what you remember of them. Leela just said it's a process. Looking into long-term care insurance now, which is so out of reach. I work at a long-term care memory care unit and see the financial struggles families go through. Don't want that to happen. Yeah, you see it firsthand. Absolutely. Can you listen to this later today? Absolutely. So Charlene DeClue, of course, as soon as we end, it's there. So all you have to do is refresh my page, go to the Monica Adams page. In fact, make sure you're following. Click follow. That way you always get notified when we're going on live. But yes, it is streaming. So as soon as the live show is over, it's there for you on all of our platforms. Yes, thank you for watching, by the way. Okay, let me go back to some aging parent questions that came in. What legal documents should every senior have?
It's the same ones I've talked about before. It's going to be a trust. It's going to be a will. It's going to be powers of attorney for finance, powers of attorney for healthcare. But if there's a need to protect assets, if you have not gotten long-term care insurance, you can't qualify for long-term care insurance, or you just want some additional protection, what we might do is we might set aside money in a protective trust. We call them the Medicaid Asset Protection Trusts.
Medicaid Asset
Medicaid
Protection?
Asset Protection Trust, correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you know when it's time to step in and help a parent?
You don't. That's really kind of the bottom line. What you can do is if you need a resource and you're not sure, but you want someone that has a professional background to assess mom and dad or assess mom and say, okay, how's she doing mentally? How's she doing physically? Is she making all the right decisions about her medications? You have questions about that. I have some resources that if you need someone like that to walk you through that process and maybe spend a few minutes or even a few hours with your mom or dad or both, check on them, please let me know. Part of what we do as an elder law firm is have those resources. I've got a group called the Elder Community Resource Network, which we've talked about.
Yeah.
And those are people I trust. I've known them for more than a decade. And they just do wonderful work they've done work for myself, for my family, and they've done wonderful work for my families that I serve. So please let me know if there's somebody you need in that elder community.
Well, you need those resources because, again, if you are met with I can't get into this facility, then you feel lost. And then it is this long process, and it's an emotional one. I'm just going to let you know. It's an emotional one when you have a door shut on you and you think, well, how can I not get my parents in or get my spouse in or my adult child that now needs this kind of care? So you have those resources to help them out. Right? That's why you work with Shawn. Yeah. Because, again, you don't want to go through the exhaustion of making all these phone calls and just keep getting told no. What happens when a parent develops dementia and no plan exists? Oh, that's a good question.
How far along are they in the process, first of all? If they're at a point where they can still make financial and healthcare decisions, then we would create an appropriate set of documents to help them and help you manage their care. If they're past that point, then you're probably looking at guardianship and conservatorship. That person's probably going to need you to make all of their decisions for them, and that's not something we work with, but I have a number of colleagues that I would love to just refer you to. They do a wonderful job. They're amazing human beings, and they can help you out.
Okay. What's the biggest financial threat facing seniors today?
Long-term care in a nursing home, especially memory care. Right now, memory care can be incredibly expensive, and it's usually going to be in an assisted living community, so it's going to have to be private pay. It's not going to be in a nursing home where you can at some point apply for Medicaid benefits, so that's probably the place where most of your money is going to be drained.
Well, and that's the question. Someone just said, can nursing home costs wipe out a family's savings?
Yeah, it absolutely can, and it's unfortunate. But that's why you talk to somebody like me and see if there are some strategies you can use to minimize or reduce the impact of that.
That's long-term care and financial protection. And again, these are things that we don't know. Even, I told you, I'm being honest, even stepping through that whole process, it was still, okay, what do I need to do next? Did I do everything? What does Shawn need me to do? But that's why he has you. I also love the fact that you said last time, Monica, this is something I've always wanted to plan for, and it is additional training, especially for those people who are getting ready to take on certain roles, because they do feel like, what am I supposed to do?
Right, and that's why I've been focusing on trying to get some training for people like you. And maybe you haven't worked with me as your attorney, that's fine. I still believe that we as attorneys have not done the best job we possibly can in terms of educating you on, first of all, who your people are that are making decisions for you. Your financial and healthcare decision makers should know what their job is before they walk into my office and say, hey, Shawn, what do we do? They should have had some training. Also, beneficiaries, they need to know what their job is.
Yes.
Because they get these separate trusts, and they're like, well, what do I do with this? Why don't I just write a check? There are reasons that that money was put into trust. There are reasons that your parents or grandparents put that money into trust. And some people feel like it's stuck there, that they can't get to it. Well, let's find out why. Let's find out if there are reasons and ways to get to that money if you need it. So again, I think that's some place we've really needed to go, but as attorneys, we haven't gone as far as we need to. It's that after the fact education for, again, your decision makers and for your beneficiaries.
What do you think people misunderstand the most about Medicaid planning?
Gosh, there's a lot. First of all, Medicaid planning, let's talk about what that is. So Medicaid planning is taking a look at your lifestyle and what you want to leave as a legacy and how you feel about dignity and maintaining dignity. That's all supported by what you've maintained and created over your life expectancy, over your lifetime. What's your assets? Those are what support your lifestyle, your dignity, and your legacy. So those are the things you want to protect. And Medicaid is a way to reduce the impact on that legacy and on your lifestyle and on your dignity by preserving some of your own assets for a spouse that stays at home while you go to the nursing home, and also for yourself. If you're a single person, maybe you want your family to have better options for your care. If you've got more money that's set aside for private pay, you can wait 12 months or 13 months for a community because you've got extra money set aside, and then apply for Medicaid benefits after that process is over with. So again, these are ways to, again, preserve dignity, get yourself into a better lifestyle, a better community, and leave something for your family.
Rose just said, Shawn, is your office by Deerberg's? Deerberg's office.
It's across Olive from that. Deerberg's offices are on the opposite side of Olive from us.
Okay, again, here, we just put it on the screen for you. So it's 16020 Swingley Ridge Road. They're in Suite 360 in Chesterfield. And the phone number to call, 636-233-2017. One more time, 636-233-2017. Or the easiest, because a lot of you might just want to send an email, it's info@esteplawfirm.com, and that's the website as well, Estep Law Firm. Memory care is getting so much bigger now, Leela said. When I was getting a divorce, I did bankruptcy. The lawyer told me they had to put half of my annuity on there. Can a state take that money?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
So one more time, she said when she was getting a divorce, she went bankruptcy. The lawyer told me I had to put half of my annuity on there. Can a state take the money, she's asking?
Okay, so I think what she's asking, and if she could just confirm this.
Yeah, give us more context maybe, Stephanie.
So let me talk about Medicaid. Medicaid does not take your money. Medicaid doesn't take your house. It doesn't take your car. What the state expects you to do is if you have money, use that for your care, both your income and your principal, your stuff. So a lot of people feel like that's the state taking it. It's not. What you do is you spend down your money. When you're through with your money, you've got none left other than your income, then Medicaid will come in and pick up the difference between your income and what your cost for care is in skilled nursing.
Okay.
Again, it doesn't work if you're in memory care and assisted living. That's purely private pay.
Okay. If there's any more to that, Stephanie, please let us know. Joe said, how do you protect assets from long-term care expenses?
Well, what you do is you plan ahead. You can put your property into what's called a Medicaid Asset Protection Trust. And what that does is says, okay, here's some money that I want to set aside. I want to put it in a safe place. You transfer it to a trust. The trust is owned by someone that's not you or a spouse. It can be your children, it can be friends, it can be siblings. And then there are people that are lifetime beneficiaries. Again, it can't be you or your spouse, but it can be children, it can be siblings, it can be friends. Now it's not your money, and it has to be in that trust for 5 years. If it's not, we have that 5-year rule that everybody in the audience has probably heard about. Medicaid will look back and say, okay, 4.5 years ago, you put X amount of dollars in your trust, you gave it away, and now we're going to penalize you. You can't apply for Medicaid benefits until you get through that penalty period. I'm not going to get into what that is or how that works right now.
Right.
But if you're interested in me doing a webinar, I'd love to do that for you and explain that in a little more detail.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
that's kind of the process.
a lot of this, there's so many layers deep, and that is why you reach out and say, okay, I need more information. Mary, you bet. I know Mary's going through a lot, well, with her husband and with her parents. She said, thank you so much, Shawn, for sharing this information. Leela said, Medicaid is such a misconception. People think it's for low income.
It's for people that have either planned ahead of time that it's not low income, it's low assets. If you've got enough income to private pay for your long-term care, you don't need to apply for Medicaid. But if you have low income and you've got a lot of assets, you may have to use those assets. In fact, you're going to have to use those assets one way or the other before you can apply for Medicaid benefits.
So how about in our final 10 minutes, because sometimes I think people need to hear something that sounds like their own story. Can you share a story where where planning made all the difference?
Sure. I've had clients, and it's not just one, I've had clients that have had a need for long-term care in a nursing home. Okay. They saw it coming. It's generally going to be either cognitive or just a long-term physical challenge. Somebody said something about Alzheimer's, I think, earlier, or
Dementia, yep.
Dementia. Okay. So dementia is a long-term process degradation. So if you know that's coming, maybe you set aside assets in a trust, in that Medicaid trust that I talked about. Giving yourself 5 years to get through that process, and then as needed, you can apply for Medicaid benefits if that has caused you to need skilled nursing. If there's no skilled nursing, if it's still long-term care in a assisted living because it's a cognitive issue, that can still be paid either through long-term care insurance or through your assets and income, but the assets may come from the trust. Okay, there are ways for that to work and still keep that money outside of your estate for Medicaid purposes.
And I think
we have to have that conversation.
Well, there's a lot of conversation that have to be had, and one of them was this: how often should estate plans be updated? I think, did you tell us?
I said 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
3 to 5 years is generally when you should review them. Go back to your attorney and have a conversation with them. Get to know them again. I have clients that come in literally every 3 years. I just met with them Friday. They come up here from Springfield, Missouri, and we sit down and we talk about the kids. They've got 5 kids they adopted from Russia. They come in and they talk about how Joe's doing, how they're all doing, and what they want to do. And I literally got up on the whiteboard and said, okay, this is where we're at. How do you want to change this?
Oh, right.
And they said, oh, okay, well, let's do this, let's do that. And
I think
because
a lot of times we probably forget.
They do, and they do a really good job of creating, almost like you do, kind of that, this is what we want to do beforehand, and that gives me an idea of what I need to do to sort of frame this, and it's another person that they've got a lot going on. This is how they want it done, and they're very specific, and it's really cool stuff.
Yeah. Leela, you are absolutely correct. She just said lots of conversations needed. Don't assume. Yes. Rose said, can we have him back on tomorrow? I'll send gooey butter cake. Oh, okay.
I'll be here.
Yes. We will be having, you're going to see Shawn on the show a lot. We've been discussing this over the months, and we finally put our own plan in action because we knew that this would be really, really popular. Somebody just said, when should a beneficiary designation be reviewed?
Constantly. Let me give you a little story. I love telling this story. I've got 2 moms. My mom, Joan, and my stepmother, Lois. And my mom was a trust-based plan. She did it with a colleague of mine in Las Vegas. She fully funded it, which means everything was either directed to the trust or owned by the trust. My stepmother and my dad decided to do will-based plans. My dad passed away, and everything pretty much flowed the way it was supposed to. The transfers on death, pan death, joint ownership, all worked properly. We just had one thing, I think, that went through probate, okay? But we had a will, so we did the probate, the will, the whole thing.
Sure.
And then my stepmother died. Actually, I think my mom died first. And it took us 6 to 7 months to really sort through everything in the trust and get it all distributed. A lot of that was, dealing with a bank and having them understand the trust and all that stuff. So 6 to 7 months. My stepmother died a year later. It took us 17 months. My brother and I just got our final check in February of this year, and my stepmother died in 2024.
Wow.
So that's a literal power of knowing with a trust that everything is in the trust or directed to the trust properly, because there's a list. You keep a list of stuff. Whereas with my stepmother, she thought she'd gotten everything transferred. We spent, I think, 3 days at different banks making sure things were TOD, POD properly, because my dad was the beneficiary on stuff. We had to go through each one of those and change it. So again, if you need to change something, it's easier to change it in one place in the trust than it is in a bunch of different accounts at 3 or 4 different banks.
What I'm trying to do for all of you is when someone passes, or you have both parents that are gone, now you've got the siblings or whatever level of family, is to try to avoid, because as somebody said earlier, people pass away, money creates arguments, it pushes people away. We're just trying to get rid of that animosity if at all possible. Does it mean that 100% it's not going to happen? Would you say a trust reduces family conflict?
I would say it reduces family conflict because it's instructions.
That's a good word.
That's what mom and dad wanted to do.
Yes.
Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't kids that are going to argue and say,
Question
well, that's not really what mom and dad wanted, because they told me that they were going to do this, and that's not what this says.
And then they go into lawsuits?
Sometimes,
Try to.
but usually they just get irritated and walk away and don't talk to you for a couple of years. So
this is the reason why I went so in depth with you is because I was hoping this is clearly what Monica and Jim want. And so please carry this out. So there is no argument. I don't do drama. I don't like drama. Why do siblings often end up in disputes over parents' estates?
I think I would look at my brother and I and what our relationship is. We're a little bit estranged, which is really kind of weird because we did a very good job of working together with the estate. On the other hand, we'll have clients that come in. The girls have all talked to each other over the years, and all of a sudden, because mom and dad have now passed, it's this stress of losing somebody you loved or losing your family.
Sure.
And now kind of this whole thing just sort of causes issues. And I know that's not my job to know, but that's just my experiences, that it's just that stress of having lost people, and it's about things and about I should have had this and you should have had that, and I don't know. That's my best guess.
Well, it's so emotional, obviously, losing someone. But what we're trying to do, what he's doing and has been for 30 years, is to try to take that drama, the animosity, the estrangement from happening. Is it 100% guarantee? No, but maybe, as we said, I think the greatest word was reduce. Reduce the possibility of that. I know you all have a lot more questions. We're going to be bringing Shawn on again for you. If there's one thing from today's show that you want them to remember, what it would be?
Plan ahead, number one. And plan ahead means know why. Why are you doing this? If your why is just avoiding probate, I would ask you to dig deeper. I would actually ask you to just take a deep breath, look at your family, think about yourself, and think about how you want to be treated if something happens and you can't make decisions, and how do you want your family treated if something happens and you're not there to express your desire.
So right now, after this show, share this with your family. Share it maybe with estranged siblings to say, maybe this brings, I would love that we bring you back to the table. Ooh, I just got chill. That we bring that calmness and kindness back together, and maybe in their death, which again, we don't want them to die for nothing. In their death, they suddenly look down from above and see them get back together. So what's one conversation you think every family should have right now?
Oh, that's great. What conversation? The conversation you should have is, can we enjoy ourselves now while we're alive and well?
Mm-hmm.
How do we do that? How do we do that better? I've got 4 kids, and I'm pretty sure we don't all see each other as often as we should, or treat each other the way we should. So I think that would be kind of my answer to that.
Oh, wow. This is really, I want to end it with this. Somebody said, many of us spend years planning vacations, years planning weddings, graduations, retirement, yet the one plan that can protect our loved ones during life's most difficult moments is often the one that we put off. If today's conversation teaches you anything, it's that estate planning is it's not about preparing for death, folks. That's not what we're discussing. It's about protecting your life. He said, I love the word you use. And I think that's what I want you to walk away with is your dignity. Dignity, peace of mind, family, protecting life, and planning.
And clarity. I think, when I saw you, Jim, you and Jim doing this, what I found was you were looking for clarity. And I think you found it.
Yep.
And
Oh,
confidence, clarity and confidence. Clearly, this is what we want. We're confident that this is going to happen, and if that's what you get out of this process, then it's a win.
Leila said keyword things. Michelle said it's invaluable when siblings are on the same page. Absolutely. Yes. And Jim did wake up and say, holy cow, you've been busy. It was 4.5 hours after he went to bed that I went way, you said you want people to go deeper. I went way deep into my heart of, no, I don't want this to just be sold off in money. I want you to remember. And again, if someone doesn't want it, it's fine. It goes to the next tier of maybe you ask this person. So much more that we can talk about. Again, I want to give you all the information. I ask you to reach out today. The main thing also is that you don't put this off. Don't think that you have endless days on earth, and you do want to be prepared. So here's all the information that you need to know. It is the Estep Law Firm, esteplawfirm.com, located at 16020 Swingley Ridge Road, Suite 360 in Chesterfield. Give them a call, 636-233-2017, or send an email to info@esteplawfirm.com. Estate planning, elder law that we are talking about today. Again, one more time, Thursday at 4:30, you're having your webinar?
Thursday at 4:30 is a webinar.
All right. And so
about a half an hour.
They can get that link to you. Probate attorney, serving St. Louis County and the surrounding areas for 30 years now, and taking care of what it is that you're wanting for yourself and for those that are going to carry out your wishes. Shawn, fantastic. Okay, so our devotional, what are you feeling today? 100 Days to Freedom from shame, depression, anger, fear and anxiety, or 100 Days of Healing?
100 Days of Healing.
Healing? Oh, I like that one. Yes,
I like
see?
that one.
Because we're trying to bring this calmness. Such a good show, my friend. And again, I hear the ding, 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 more questions coming in. We will just save those, just like we did last time, for our show coming up next month. At some point, Shawn likes the idea of us coming to his location and really showcasing the team and seeing where you're going to be working with him as well and doing that business spotlight. All right, 100 Days of Healing. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you so much.
Don't go anywhere.
Hi, it's Monica Adams. Thank you so much for following along with The Real Monica Adams Show. But I wanted to let you know there's so much more that I could do with you, your business, your corporation. Did you know that I'm a motivational speaker all around the world, as well as an MC and an auctioneer? So if you have an event, maybe a nonprofit organization, and you want to book me, just shoot me an email, info@therealmonicaadams.com.
Welcome back, Layla. Thank you. Great show. I just said the same thing to Shawn, and he loves when those questions come in. He also said that you can ask questions live in the webinar that he's doing on Thursday at 4:30, and then he'll be back with us in the month of August. So Shawn picked 100 Days of Healing, and yeah, we need that. We think about when we lose someone and how we carry forward the kindness. Our hope is in heaven. It's day 34 of 100 Days of Healing by Stephen Arterburn. Since ancient times, no one's heard, no ear has perceived, no eye has seen any God God besides you who acts on behalf of those who wait for him. Isaiah 64, verse 4. I went deep into Proverbs yesterday. It really spoke to me. I just opened up and I said, God, what part of Scripture do you want me to read today? And for me, yesterday was Proverbs. Today, Isaiah. This topsy-turvy world provides many opportunities to fear. We fear what the future may bring, a financial meltdown, mental decline, or physical injury. And when we're afraid, we often fall back on the common belief that money will keep us safe. Boy, this is crazy that Shawn picked this one today. It's natural to crave security, but as believers, we know that true security is found in our relationship with God, not in how much we have. True security doesn't depend on our external circumstances. We can take comfort in knowing our circumstances on earth, as good or bad as they may get, are nothing at all compared to the treasures that heaven has waiting for us. Our desire for health, wealth, security is really a desire for our ever-constant God, who alone can bring the deepest longings of our hearts. And whether we ever achieve what we dream of or not, we can rest assured our dreams here are shallow, gray limitations of our future in the kingdom of God, where we will reign with Jesus and take pleasure eternally in his good gifts. On bad days, hold on to the hope that heaven provides. On good days, thank God for the glimpses of heaven that you see. Today's prayer, Jesus, my heart so often pulls me in ungodly directions. I think if I achieve more, meet the right person, or gain more followers on social media, I'll have what my soul craves. It's never enough. Pull me back to your side where eternal pleasures await. Amen. Shawn, thank you for that one. By the way, Saturday, I stopped into the porch, as a lot of you did. She had 50% off those outdoor pots, which is amazing. If you haven't been to the porch yet, I highly recommend that you get in. They're located in Wildwood, Missouri. It was so good to see Jan over the weekend and her team. And yes, I bought more. In fact, I already went Christmas shopping because it's only 4 months away, folks, which is crazy. I got a ton of presents for my clients. And so this is a great place to go shopping, theporchwildwood.com. If you have not been in, this is just a glimpse of some of the beauty that they have. So yes, it's not all interior design. Sure, there's a ton of things for your home, but candles, purses, jewelry, really cool kitchen items for you. Or I said it during our show that I think it would be great for people to do a registry for someone who's getting married, and they'll be like, I want some of this stuff from the porch. And then if it comes to that interior design aspect, let Jan and her team take care of you, your home or your office. She said she was packed, and I love this. She gives that directly to our show and all of you, supporting those that support us, which is what I always ask for. So Jan's married to Mark, by the way, who owns Kaufman Outdoors. The two of them have become our title sponsor. Kaufman Outdoors is in Sullivan, Missouri, 141 North Service Road West. You can give them a call, or better yet, stop in and check out all the incredible things they have for the outdoors. So if it's a new mower, right, the one that you have is not doing the job, or maybe you want an Arctic Cat UTV, they have open and closed cabs for you. So that might be just for fun or taking care of your property. Bad boy compact tractors, open and closed cab styles. We love that. Arr, greeting you as soon as you walk in the door. They also have Exmark and Spartan mowers. And then those e-bikes that all of you love so much from a recreational standpoint. How about for the hunter in your family? They can use the e-bikes now. So many people are like, oh, I never even thought about that. Well, Mark did, and he designed and made his own. Kaufman Outdoors, I am so thrilled to have you. Zach and I are taking a ride out to Sullivan this Wednesday, and we're going to take even more footage. I think he's going to put me on a tractor. Not Zach, but Mark. Wait for that. Yeah, thank you to all of our sponsors. We could not do this show without you, and I'm excited for new ones to come. August 1st is right around the corner, and we have one, maybe two more businesses that said, I want to put our brand with your brand. So the Estep Law Firm, the Porch in Wildwood, Kaufman Outdoors, we were just talking about. Childress Legal Nurse Consulting will be back on with us next month. JG Optimal Wellness, Jenny will be back with Menopause Talk. Spas and more, thank you for the hot tub that came on Friday. Did you see that show? Defiance Ridge Vineyards will be back with Wet Your Whistle next Wednesday. Dot Fleshman Realty back on with us in a week as well. Garden View Care Centers we were just talking about, as well as Exist, Stretch, and Fenton Family Dentistry. I am going to Fenton Family Dentistry in just a few hours, and then I'm going to Exist, Stretch on Friday. So I'm taking care of those that take care of us. I'm hoping you are out there as well, making sure that you say thank you. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. And of course, the biggest thanks is to you for watching. Carla just said, thanks for the information. Such a great thing to plan ahead. You got it, Carla. Drop the mic right there. Folks, remember to dream big, change the world. That's the greatest thing. That's the impact that you want in life, right? It's the memories created together. Dream big. You can be whatever you want to be in life, but the greatest be is kind. Be kind and God bless.
The Real Monica Adams Show is brought to you by Kaufman Outdoors and The Porch in Wildwood.